All right, so here's a market update. We're going to take you from January to now and what has happened. There's been interesting stuff. What we're looking at is January 2022 compared to January 2021. Nothing really changed other than that the amount of listings went down. So we had more, it was more competitive this year than last year in the beginning of January. We had slightly more buyers under contract this year than last year. And then we switch over to June. So now June this year to June last year, interest rates started rising basically March, April-ish. So by June, the inventory had doubled. And then the buyers started to taper down a little bit compared to the previous year at the same time. And then yesterday, we now have 10,000 listings. And last year we had 4,300 listings at this time. And we have had the buyers drop off to 5,500 under contract versus 7,700, which over here you can see is a 28% decrease in homes under contract while having a 133% increase of homes available. So we've also had a lot of sellers putting their home on the market and then changing their mind and taking it off. So we have had that double as well. So that's where the news is like the fastest increase in homes and blah, 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 and it sounds intimidating. But if you look at this stat, this is comparing to 2018. Pre-COVID, pre-super, super low rates. In 2018, there was 9,700 listings. Now there's 10,100. So pretty much the same. And then we had 6,200 buyers in 2018 under contract. Now we have 5,500, so a little bit down, but not much. So really the market today is nearly identical to what it was in a normal market. Nobody was complaining. Everything was great. Utah's fastest growing, or in the top 2 or 3 fastest growing states, and it still is. So it's just coming off of a false high in the market where things are going up 30% and every year, and there was multiple offers, like 30 offers on everything. That's because we had only 2,000 listings when we normally should be having around 9 to 10,000 listings. And so, yeah, we just had a major shortage of inventory during COVID combined with super, super low rates. And the super low rates is why there was the shortage of inventory, because buyers were just buying it up instantly, so it didn't have time to be on the market. So what has this meant this year? So this is single family homes, Utah and Salt Lake County, the median sold prices. This is their asking price to sold price. So you see that like November 21 all the way to June, people were selling for 1 to 5% over their asking prices with the multiple offers. Now, what is deceiving about June is we all know in the business, like June was starting to feel slower, like a little bit tougher to sell homes. So this is the sold price, which means a month to 2 months prior is when they were getting their buyers under contract with the multiple offers still. And that would be spot on for like roughly shortly after interest rates started to rise. They started rising March, April, May, and so they were going under contract here, but posting sold here in June. And so anyways, where we're at now is, so median sold price is $599 for single family homes, and that is, they're negotiating down, or sellers are having to drop their prices from asking $634. Normally what I'm seeing is sellers are dropping their prices. I'm not necessarily seeing massive negotiations always. It's just that they started out at $634. The sellers dropped their own price probably to $600, $605, and then they finally settled at $599 with an offer. That's normally what's happening. So if our sold prices peaked out in May at $635, so that is a 5% decrease in single family homes since May. So basically over the course of 4 or 5 months, we have seen a 5% decrease in home prices. And but what's interesting is it's very likely that this year still closes out with home appreciation, because $599 is still 5% higher than the 575 that was posted sold in January. So if we started at 575 and we're currently at 599, we're still up 5% this year. We're just down 5% from the peak. So from January to May, things went up. And then from May till now, it's going back down. So more than likely, we're still going to close out the year showing home appreciation, or at least a net kind of zero. It didn't go up or down. Now, townhomes, Salt Lake, Utah County, townhomes have a similar theme. They're currently selling a median price at $431,000. You've got to go back to December of 2020. So the townhome pricing has been knocked back down to December last year, but they peaked out at $481,000 in May, and so they have experienced a 10% decrease from their height in 4 or 5 months. So home prices came down 10%. Now, with that said, I just met with like a 25-year-old married couple, and I told them pricing's not what it was, but it's still good. And it's like they're still making like $150,000 on their pricing on their home, and they're still going to build, and they're going to trade up. They're making so much money. So this 10% decrease is literally like 1/4 of loss last year. So people, it's not like doom and gloom, like 10%, oh yeah, but they got 30% last year alone, and then 30% the year before. And so people are still, I mean, I haven't seen anybody sell a home and make less than $100,000 for quite a long time, like a few years. So condos, they're selling at a median of $343,000 right now. That is roughly also 10% down from their peak in May, and puts them back to pricing back in December or November last year. So we've basically just knocked back down to the beginning of the year, and everybody was excited at the beginning of the year about what their homes were worth. So I hope that gives you some perspective about what's been happening. And clearly the market is softer now than it was, but it's the same as it was prior to COVID, minus that interest rates are higher. So it really could go either way going forward. We probably would see about another 5% decrease if the Fed keeps raising rates and mortgage rates keep going up beyond. Right now they're hovering around 5.75 interest rates. So if we go up another percent, I could imagine that home prices will come down another 5%, is what I would guess. But with everybody making so much money, it really doesn't necessarily stop real estate. People still need to buy and sell. And we can see that right now, I mean, there's still 5,500 people that are selling and buying and needing to do what they need to do. And the majority of them are still making significant chunks of money on their homes. So it's not super doom and gloom out there. Things are fine. But hopefully that was informative as to what is happening right now in the market.